success is whatever you make it, I suppose, whatever you're aiming for. Would I consider myself successful? I never say it in so many words, but having said that, I would say that I'm incredibly lucky, true, that everything I dreamed of that I'd be doing at this age, it's all happened.
Two mates are on a mission to figure out how 10 Aussie icons in completely different fields broke away from the pack. We want to dig deeper, see if anyone can do what they've done, and figure out their common thread. At just 16, Jess Watson became the youngest ever person to sail solo around the world. Her voyage inspired a nation and captured the imagination of people all around the globe. For her 210-day journey at sea, National Geographic selected her as an Adventurer of the Year. She was named 2011's Australian of the Year and later received an Order of Australia medal for service to sailing and for being a role model to young people. After her trip, she published both a book and a documentary about her adventure and continued to push the boundaries when she skippered the youngest ever crew to finish the perilous Sydney to Hobart yacht race. After meeting with Alan Bond in Perth, Jack and I were off to the yacht club on Queensland's Sunshine Coast to meet with Jess where it all began. We came to explore how she achieved something so out of the ordinary, so young. So in terms of the challenges out there in front of a 16-year-old girl, why did you choose sailing around the world as opposed to other challenges?
Obviously being exposed to the water and with a family that were spending a lot of time on it, that was a big part of the inspiration. But I also had a mum who was incredible in letting us try new things, and as somebody who was very dyslexic as a kid, she always made it so clear that I could do things if I wanted. You know, she was so adamant that I was going to conquer those small challenges, that in some ways she set herself up for a lot of trouble when I did decide that I wanted to sail around the world.
And with your adventure, was age a factor to be the youngest?
A big part of the inspiration for me was, again, yes, what young people can do, but young girls as well, because sailing is still a very, very male-dominated industry. You know, even so many of our amazing people in Australia have done incredible things in any field. They're not females, and I really did want to make that point. So it was very important to me to set that example and go up against the guys.
Jess was born on the Gold Coast as one of 4 children. Between the age of 9 and 14, she and her siblings grew up on a boat where they were homeschooled by their parents. Her mother read Jessie Martin's book Lionheart as a bedtime story, which inspired her to beat him as the youngest person to have sailed solo around the world. Like Gay Waterhouse and Dr. Fiona Wood, Jess was also motivated to overcome gender stereotypes. The difference with Jess, though, was how she had done this at such a young age. We wanted to hear how she tackled such a huge goal.
And before your big adventure, you had lots of little adventures. How important was that in the lead up to setting off?
The little adventures as part of preparation were essential. They were what made it. You know, even just convincing mum and dad. I had to do so many little steps along the way. Even as kids, you know, we wanted to go off camping with our mates for a week. You know, we had to go for a couple of days first, somewhere closer to home, and before they had the confidence. But I don't think a lot of people make the connection between this big goal and the little achievable steps along the way, the realistic parts of it that can actually happen. People just go, too big, too scary, I couldn't do that, instead of going, what can I do to get there?
Do you think then that a lot of people let fear get in the way of their goals?
Yeah, I suppose it's easy to let fear get in the way of your goals. If I hadn't told myself, look, I've got to toughen up. You know, if I'm going to get there, I've got to do it. And yeah, we're scared of, probably not just, scared of waves and scary things. I think we're particularly scared of failing, you know, of what are people going to think of us. You know, it's harsh, people talking behind your back. I didn't realise how much of it was going on at the time, but I think you need a bit of audacity and single-mindedness just to actually plough through all of that.
Jess had a controversial few months leading up to her trip. A lot of people felt it was reckless for a 16-year-old girl to be setting off on such a dangerous adventure and questioned her parents' judgment. It didn't help when she gave her critics ammunition.
Last month, on the first night of a test voyage, she snapped her mast when her distinctive pink yacht crashed into a huge cargo vessel. The teenager was forced to limp back to port. An official report by maritime safety investigators found that she'd fallen asleep without activating a crash warning device, and they were unimpressed with how she'd planned her epic journey. But the schoolgirl and her parents have ignored calls for her to give up.
I'm only standing here and because I feel confident, and a lot of experienced people feel confidence in me, so I don't know, to take one step at a time and yeah, feel confident the whole way.
Is it an advantage to have a setback like that when you're trying to achieve something so big?
Yeah, definitely. There were so many positives that came out of having that ship. I wasn't thinking that at the time. It made me more confident. And I know that sounds like the strangest thing to say, but up until then, I'd done loads of preparation. I'd spent plenty of time out at sea sailing, but I'd never put myself in a situation where everything was just completely falling apart. And it was really reassuring to realise that I just went into this sort of checklist mode and I was doing all the right things and I knew how to handle a situation. Before then, there was this niggling doubt in my head that I might fall apart. I might go back to being the scared kid I was only a few years ago and not be able to handle it.
So the silver yang was a silver lining?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Bit weird when you put it like that, but enough water's been under the bridge to see it as a good thing.
And on that, when you had the collision, it gave fuel to your critics, but it also gave you the opportunity to find your inner strength. And do you think everyone has that inner strength, or do only a few possess that?
I think a lot of people do. I think it's a matter of finding it and wanting to find it. You're not going to find your comfort zone or where your comfort zone is, or find strength just by plodding along merrily and not trying new things and not putting yourself out there. And that can be in any regard. It doesn't have to be out in the ocean in an adventure. It can be, academically or just all sorts of things. Definitely important to push yourself.
It's hard to overstate how much Jess must have pushed herself to overcome the defeat of colliding with the tanker on that very first night. It's likely a lot of people wouldn't have dusted themselves off the way she did to get back to the start line and officially head off on her journey in October of 2009. Her voyage would see her sail over 21,000 nautical miles non-stop around the world in her 10-metre boat. She was knocked down 6 times during wild storms, where the mast was submerged in water due to the 12-metre waves. Jack and I were amazed at her bravery and sheer drive to push through these challenges and see her journey through to completion.
I joke about, wanting to go for a second lap and do it all again straight away, but to be honest, I think I am ready to come home now. Love it out here still, but I think enough's enough.
It was updates like these through her blog and satellite interviews that connected with the Australian public and saw her receive an outpouring of support. So what was it about your adventure that you think Australia loved so much?
I know that for me, being able to share it with so many people, and that was, my team, my family, they were as much as part of the voyage as, I say we a lot, and I was out there by myself, but it wasn't just my voyage in any way. It was all those people who put hours and hours of work into it. It was theirs as well. The people who were reading the blog, who were supporting me, it was lovely to have them along for the ride, and I really enjoyed that. It made it so much more special for me to be able to share it.
Do you think anyone could sail around the world?
Yes. I didn't have a lot going for me, but I did what I had to get there. I think anyone's capable of that, and it makes you think what else people are capable of.
And do you think you have to be a little bit selfish to achieve success?
Yeah, I hate it, and I feel like a horrible person, and the truth is I was quite selfish, and it's something I struggled to say for a couple of years there. But you do, and in any field I think there's always going to be a little bit of that, and hopefully you can give enough back at some point, at different stages to make up for it.
This point stood out to us. Jess made it clear that she owed a lot of her success to the people she surrounded herself with. Her parents led the way from an early age. She managed to pull in members of the sailing community who generously gave her advice, helped her make the boat, plan her trip and source sponsors. And after 7 months at sea, with the world behind her, she sailed into Sydney Harbour a national hero. A reported 150,000 fans lined the harbour, including the local Premier and Prime Minister, to welcome her home. We wanted to hear how she managed to inspire so many to be a part of her journey. So you had a lot of people helping you along the way. Was it hard for you to share your vision with them?
Sharing the vision and the adventure with people was really, really important, and I think that was really the only thing I had going for me at all, because we had a team of volunteers working on the boat out the back of the coast here for months, and they were completely dedicated, working from sun up to sundown. And there were people offering to help throughout the whole journey, and I realised somewhere along those lines it was because they were able to share the journey, they were able to share that part of the dream, and it became their voyage as well. So I think being able to share the vision with people is absolutely critical. I don't know how I managed to do it, but I think maybe I was so passionate about it myself that it sort of rubbed off on other people.
So speaking of Chris and Bruce Arms and Don McIntyre, could you have done it without them?
No, definitely not. They were all absolutely critical to it. They were wonderful, and it was a matter of finding people along the way who were going to help me. I knew that from the start, and I found some pretty awesome ones, but I was always going to need people like that. I was never going to be able to do it without them.
And do you think that's the message for most people who are trying to achieve something big, that you need these people in your life to excel?
Yeah, the thing people also don't realise is people are willing to help. It's incredible what people are willing to help with. You've just got to ask. There's absolutely no harm in asking a million people for help, and if they all say no, what have you lost?
Jess Watson is a true pioneer. It took courage and determination to achieve what she did, but it also took the support of key people to make her dreams a reality. Jack and I saw this thread with everyone we met. You've got to surround yourself with supporters who share your vision if you're going to break away from the pack. Not a blog post would go by where we wouldn't read about what you were consuming. So we actually got you a few little treats. So what we've gone with here is we've got some solid egg whites for you, and we thought...
might be good for the muscle.
Yeah, get the protein back.
I'm still trying to work on.
Because your favourite dish was definitely the powdered egg at sea. Thank you very much for your time today, Jess.